Hey friends, it's Paula. Welcome back to Relatively Refined, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, my sisters Kathleen, Patty, and I are going to be sharing our Thanksgiving tablescapes with you. Each of us has designed a slightly different tablescape to give you some inspiration for this holiday season. We hope you enjoy. We would really appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's take a look at these beautiful Thanksgiving tablescapes.
Hi, it's Kathleen from Relatively Refined. Before we get started in putting together our Thanksgiving tablescape, I thought I would show you some of the elements that I am planning on using in this Thanksgiving tablescape and the inspiration behind it. So in Vermont here, we are in what we call stick season. So I am going with a all brown, sort of neutral tone Thanksgiving tablescape, and mostly things that I found in nature. So the inspiration for this tablescape are these two deer candle holders that I got at an estate sale. Those will anchor the tablescape. And then I'm going to use wooden pieces that my husband has turned on his lathe, some trees and some mushrooms and some acorns. I'm also going to use the natural elements from outside, pine cones and a bunch of brown leaves that we just cut off of a tree today. Instead of a centerpiece, like a floral centerpiece, I'm going to use those leaves, I believe. That's what I'm planning on doing. And instead of a traditional vase, I'm going to use this birch bark. It did have a candle in it. I burned the candle down. I had that last year. And so I'm going to use that as a vessel to hold those. I have a few artificial acorns that I got in a bundle from an estate sale. And I'm going to use this taupe or brown. It's actually a scarf. I took that from my sister Patty. I'm going to use it as a in the middle of the table, sort of a runner. It was an infinity scarf, and I cut it, and I'll use it as a runner. And lastly, to fit with that sort of neutral brown, I'm going to use, these are a little more gold, but I think they'll be okay. And I actually picked these up at an estate sale. I always love to buy candles that are unused. So those are the elements that I plan on putting together to create my Thanksgiving tablescape in sort of as an homage to stick season here in Vermont. So let's get started. I started with the infinity scarf that I cut to use as a table runner. I picked it up for $1 at a local thrift shop. I then added the centerpiece, which was a used vessel, and inserted a stick from out in the woods. I surrounded the base of that with larger pine cones that I saved from an old Christmas wreath. I then added the candlesticks that were inspiration for this, and some of the wooden trees and mushrooms that my husband has been making on the lathe. I used the gold candles that I picked up at an estate sale for $1 a piece, and added those to the deer candle holders. I placed a few extra branches to lengthen the centerpiece, and a few twinkle lights to give it light. Here is the table, all set for Thanksgiving for 6. So as you saw in the still pictures, the table, the centerpiece, was made out of all thrifted items or things that we found outside, like the branches. And I decided to sprinkle in some twinkle lights because it is November and it gets dark, and they just add a really nice glow, even when the candles are not lit. So I like to sprinkle those in any place and any chance I get. So you'll see the deer candlesticks with the thrifted gold candlesticks that work great. They really fit in with the brown stick season theme. And at each place setting, I decided to use the brown chargers that were from our local thrift shop. as well as the little friendly village plates, because to me, they just seem like going to grandma's for Thanksgiving. And I picked up these, a whole set, for $50 on the marketplace. And I put a little thankful sign in there. The gold plated, or gold silverware or flatware was also a marketplace find. And I decided to use that rather than the stainless just because of that brown theme. The only thing that is not thrifted or handmade or already owned are the napkins. Those are relatively new, and I bought those on sale at Target. The glassware is a thrifted vintage Libby, I think, glassware with the gold leaves on it. And I'm really pleased at how it came out. I think it was simple. It came together rather quickly. I took a nod from Patty with the thrifted scarf that I picked up for $1 and decided to use it as the table runner. What, like I said in the introduction, it was an infinity scarf that I had to then cut, but I can still use it as a scarf. And I just adore the little wooden trees and mushrooms and even the acorns that my husband is making out on the lathe. I will always find a place for those because I think they're so cool. And the birch bark, it was a candle that I received for Christmas a couple years ago. I saved the vessel because I thought it was really cool. And I'm glad I did. I just stuck that branch in there, surrounded it with some brown paper, and then covered it with some pine cones so you couldn't see the paper. I tried melting down the remaining wax to see if I could stick the stem in there, but that didn't quite work. So there you have it, a Thanksgiving tablescape, stick season in Vermont. Thank you so much for watching. And from all of us at Relatively Refined, we hope you and your family have a really wonderful Thanksgiving. We appreciate you and are very thankful for you. Take care.
Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to my Thanksgiving table setting. So I'm going to start as usual with an overview of the table. This is in my formal dining room and it is not particularly formal, but it is our dining room. And I have gone with, as you can see, lots of gold and brown and creamy white. And of course, I'm trying to carry through my bird theme since this is Thanksgiving. And I've also incorporated in some fruit because I'm really trying to keep this a very traditional New England Thanksgiving tablescape. And I think there's something about pears and apples and pheasants and things like that that really evoke a New England traditional Thanksgiving. This in the center is a recently purchased from an antique store, so it's pre-loved soup tureen, and I loved the details on this. The swans, again with sort of the bird theme that I'm carrying through here, and I love that it came as 4 pieces. So it has the underplate, the ladle, the base, and the lid. And that underplate can also serve as a platter for turkey. So you don't need to have a separate turkey platter for that. And I'm showing you also that gravy boat over there because I think Thanksgiving is the one time that we use a gravy boat. And funny story about this tureen, I have been on the hunt for a white soup tureen. I really wanted an ironstone one. And I have been looking for a very long time. And so last weekend I bit the bullet at an antique store and purchased that swan one And honestly, since then, in the past week, I have seen a half dozen soup tureens. So I think that's sort of the way it works. There's my hurricanes over my candles because at a Thanksgiving table with lots of hands, I really like the protection of the hurricane. This gold pear, I actually bought a bag of gold fruit. There were pears and apples at a consignment store recently, and I thought they looked really pretty on the table. So now I'm going to show you the place setting, and you will see my traditional white plate. That's my Mikasa plate underneath. And then I just have a very simple cloth napkin in a flax color. And then of course on top are my turkey plates. They are salad plates, and you saw where I thrifted those. These frosted pheasant tumblers are some of my favorites. Those were from a yard sale, and I just love the colors, the size, and of course that there are pheasants on them. And you can see my bronze flatware that I picked up at a church rummage sale. I love those, and I love to set a table with the extra fork and spoon for dessert on top. And I decided to put the butter plates, bread and butter plates here with a gold pear or apple on some with the flatware. Those are just the vintage false craft plates, and I think they look super nice with the fruit on them. So that is the place setting, very simple, clean. Just remember there's going to be a lot of food on this table, so we need lots of room, and I don't want to fuss with a ton of dishes. Like I said, there's hands reaching, and that just can spell trouble. If you'll notice in the back, behind the table is my buffet, and I have some serving dishes over there. I will give you a close-up here in just a minute. So here I have a lot of my false craft serving dishes, my little serving side tureens and side dish holders. There's my Four Winds bowls. And I thought it would be really fun to put a Thanksgiving book out on display. I actually thrifted this, and I love the way it looks, and I've actually used it for quite a bit. So I put it there so that it added a little bit of color, but also just a reminder of why we're here. Another pro tip is to leave extra cloth napkins on the side table in case somebody needs an extra one, which invariably happens.
Okay, so I thought it would be fun to show you a way that you can fold a napkin for your Thanksgiving table. In my house, my daughter usually makes place cards, and this method gives you a little pocket to put a place card in. It can also sit upright. This is a fold known as the bishop's hat. And I'm just taking a square napkin. Don't mind the wrinkles, but this is just a quick tutorial. And I'm facing you, so it would have been better if I could have done this from behind me. So you may have to, this may test your spatial skills. So I'm just laying it out in a diamond, and I'm going to bring the bottom corner up to the top to make a triangle. And each step of the way I'm smoothing. This is not the easiest napkin to work with. It's very thin and it has fringe, but this is what I had handy, and this is what I'm using on my Thanksgiving table. So this is what I'm going to be using for this. So I'm just going to try to smooth it out as best I can. And then I'm going to put my hand in the long side in the middle, and I'm going to bring up the bottom point to the top. And I'm going to repeat on this side. So you end up with a diamond with a fold or a seam right in the middle. And then you're going to take this bottom corner up almost to the top, just about an inch or so from the top corner. Crease it, and then you're going to fold it right back down
to the bottom. And again, just smooth it out as you go. And then very carefully holding all the pieces, just flip it over. And this time, you're going to take this bottom flat edge and fold it into the middle. So you have a straight bottom. And then when you do this side, you're going to fold it in and you're going to tuck it into this pocket. So tuck that in. And then you have a flat side here. And then you're going to flip it over and you're going to end up with this. So you can tuck a place card in here, or you can also stand it up on your table as a place setting and put a place card in that.
I hope you enjoyed seeing how my Thanksgiving table looks, and you have maybe learned something from this quick napkin tutorial that might just elevate your Thanksgiving table. So happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Here is an overview of my Thanksgiving table. As you can see, I did go with a very limited color palette for this tablescape. I used creamy whites, brown, and then a beautiful kind of honey gold color that you see in the florals and the candlesticks. I really think that by using a limited color palette and the clear glassware, it reduces the visual clutter and gives the illusion that the table is actually bigger than it is. Let's take a look at the centerpiece. This is a beautiful Weller vase that I got a few years ago off of Facebook Marketplace. I thought the gorgeous autumnal colors in the vase were perfect for Thanksgiving. And I also felt like the flowers on the bittersweet echoed the flower that is painted or applied on the vase. Here are my Baldwin brass candlesticks under hurricane glass. And that hurricane glass is actually very practical on a small table because an open flame and a small table can be a dangerous situation. So I like to use those hurricane vases over my candlesticks. And it also elevates it and makes it just that much more fancy for Thanksgiving. At each place setting, I used a burlap leaf that I got at Dollar Tree many years ago and a small pumpkin or gourd. And that just gives some visual interest and some contrast to the creamy white plates. And those are my Mikasa French countryside plates. These napkins I got probably 10 or 12 years ago from Pottery Barn, and they're perfect. They have a pine cone and some pine needles. And the gold flatware I purchased from Walmart. I believe it's the Better Homes and Gardens brand. Here's the centerpiece and a full look at the table. And I think it's very beautiful. Simple and elegant, not too cluttered, but also conveys the sense that this is a fancy dinner we're having, or fancier than normal, and it's a special occasion, and I'm really happy with the way it all turned out. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we'd like to leave you with this Irish blessing. May love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May all life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours. Happy Thanksgiving from all of us at Relatively Refined.